Alright, we are recording. And oh, this is gonna be nice after how this week has been. So I've actually been sick for basically the week. I'm much better today and yesterday as well. But just, yeah, not been fun. Although now I feel like I'm getting a cold, which that's annoying, but a cold would be not as annoying as what I've been going through, so.
Hey, you made it to camp. Gods, I hope.
Okay, so I have a mission from him.
Out there.
You aid.
Quest from him, I guess I should say.
Will you keep an eye out for him? Thank you.
Okay, there. Okay, so I think I had mentioned this before that, yeah, this is, you can do some of the bronze coins here, but it's like very, okay, what is it that you actually get out of this? Or rather, what is the point of bronze coins? Especially because of how slow this is. I am also just like so out of practice at the moment. Even it's been a week, which is the normal thing usually, but it still is. I'm just so I'm trying to remember what the what any of the keys are right now. It's really, yeah. That's how the week has been. Not actually, even just generally, there's not much news to talk about from this week. Which I'm actually kind of thankful for, because the main thing, well, okay, so the two main things that have been sick this week, one was just being like tired, exhausted all the time. The other was having no appetite. So but you know, the tired exhaustion stuff is like, okay, so the fact that it's there wasn't much news this week, appreciated. Thank you for how that has just coincidentally worked out. Yeah. Well, he's down here. One over there. Yeah, now we get... Oh, wow, he got shredded. I guess it helps that they could focus fire on just the one, but I do feel like I might be over-leveled at the moment. You know what? It's technically a bad idea, but let's do it anyway. I don't remember if this actually breaks things. It seemed like it has previously, but that really should not be the case. And also, yeah, I'm just clearing some stuff on the desktop. And you know what? We can quickly take care of this too. Here. Those I'm sure I can sell.
Sorting through this old...
She wants the crab shells, but I don't have all of them yet, so I'm gonna wait on that. Let's... Yeah. Just 2 levels up. No idea what they're at now, but I can believe I'm 2-3 levels ahead of where I should be. And just to... It's because I clear everything. I mean, this happens in a lot of games, and it's just my playstyle of clearing everything. I tend to get ahead of where so many games assume you are. A lot of games, though, does seem pretty well balanced that I'm really ever like 2 levels ahead. I was in fact 2 levels ahead, because they're now at 25, so that means that they were at 23. Yeah. So no, sorry, I was 3 levels ahead. That's not common for how I typically play, but it's like, yeah, that's not necessarily the most surprising. Another one there. I didn't even realize that they had been destroyed. Nope. Yeah, just keep staying there. Alright. Okay, yeah, this is actually something that just, it has annoyed me for so long. Because in theory, it's like, oh yeah, you just need to do the Simon Says. You can just repeat the order. You never see the order, though. At least I've never seen what the correct order is. Okay. It's like you just need to brute force it. Or not even that. Yeah, it just... In theory, it would be a... Like, oh, when you enter here, you'll see it. But notice, you can't see anything. You actually can't see anything. You'd have to get up here, but there's enemies stopping you. Or at least fighting you. So it's, yeah, I don't... Well, maybe it is. You're just supposed to do it randomly and hope you hit it. Boat. Some things that I've seen from this week, though not written up. Apparently, one thing that I saw was that TSMC has all their fabs booked through like 2027. Like they're only taking orders for 2028, but that's even including the Arizona fab that they haven't even built yet, or at least it's not fully operational. It's right now really nuts, basically, which isn't necessarily surprising because of the whole AI push. And it's like it's not just pushing, it's not just pressure on memory; it's also pressure on the compute side. But I was also seeing something, and I don't know if this is true, but that we might be seeing the start of the bubble bursting, essentially. Like some data centers are canceling stuff. Not sure about that. Wow, this thing is just tough. It dropped some nice stuff. Which, I mean, I don't really know what to say on that. Other than, I mean, yeah, it's... We are in an AI bubble at the moment. It's going to burst. Question is, what kind of impact is that going to have on things? Because there's a lot of ways it could have an impact, including some that are just, like, odd. Like, electricity prices might go down. Although that depends on where you are. Like where I am, I don't think there's any data centers in the area or even plans for one, so I probably wouldn't be impacted, but some places it's absurd. And it's also horrible because data centers also need a whole bunch of water, so there's places where the price of water is going up. It's like, that's a problem. Yeah, it's just weird. And as I'm thinking about it now, and I know I've poorly tried to talk about this previously, about what I think the future with AI will be, and talking about how it's we will see it on the data center scale, but it's not going to be at, like, basically once the infrastructure's there, that'll settle tremendously. So there's that. You'll see workstation kind of stuff, but that'll be like AMD and NVIDIA putting out just AI-specific accelerators that aren't the $10,000 per, but a few $1,000s per. And then gaming will, the gaming offering will go back to being more just gaming offering with some AI, but not so much. But also that you will see AI on the consumer level, but it'll be hardware has caught up to capabilities kind of thing. So by that I mean, I think I'm not certain because I don't follow this stuff too closely, but I do see some of it. That we do currently, we still have huge leaps from one generation of like NPU or whatever you want to call it to the next. Because we're still figuring it out. Like, what are the best models or best way to design models? What are the best ways to execute those models on even specialized hardware? It's still, there might be better or worse ways of doing it. We're still figuring that. It's probably toning down now. We probably figured out a lot of it at this point, but it's still, that is where we are. Okay, good. But once we figure that out, I do think you will see, like, Intel and AMD are going to be the ones that really determine when or how the bubble bursts. And not in an necessarily intentional way, but when they figure out an NPU that is compact enough, efficient enough, that just everyone can have it in their CPUs, and that will handle like 90% of what the average user would need. Once that's achieved, the bubble will be officially burst. Because that means it is just integrated into daily life. We may even stop calling it AI, which is what's happened previously. Because we've had AI systems for a long time. Okay, they're like decades old. They legitimately are. We just stopped calling it AI because it got too easy, essentially. So why use the fancy term? I mean, it's like how we don't really call 1080 HD anymore. We came with a new term, 4K or Ultra HD, but we stopped caring about just regular old HD, which is actually 720. 1080 is full HD, but still, we're going to reach that point with AI, and I do think that it will be, when we reach that, it's just there. What you want, the bulk of what you will ever think you want done, it can do. And if you need something more advanced, you're either just going to have to wait a little bit for it to process, or you go somewhere online and it does it for you. The data center stuff, the infrastructure stuff. So that would be, or you do end up having to get the workstation kind of hardware. So that would be something like image generation. I could see being that's part of that 90% that NPU enables you to do, and upscaling as well. It's like that's there. But if you're somebody that you need to do video generation, okay, well that's, now you need either the if you do enough of it, you need to get the workstation card for the workstation accelerator for that. But you're doing enough of it, it'll pay for itself. Or you don't do enough of it, so then you have to have some kind of you need to just go to a data center that does it for you then. It's like once it settles down to that, man, it'll be nicer. Because it's mainly once we hit that, it's just in your system. That's gonna be the biggest thing. It legitimately will be the biggest thing, because with that achieved, that should mean that RAM will have been sorted out well enough that we're not seeing the pressure on that, so that'll start stabilizing. But it's just, I don't know when it'll be. Hopefully soon. Yeah. And that door is locked and shall remain so. Actually, I don't think that ever does get opened up, but yeah. I do wonder if they're actually not supposed to be like that. Like it, because this one has always seemed like really easy. Where it's just, oh yeah, just interact with everything once. No, and I think I probably talked about it then. DLSS 5 is going to help with bringing back the bubble burst, because it's just like, it's so silly, it's so stupid, it's so ridiculous that's what a large company like Nvidia thinks people want, believes that people want. At least the people that care, that you know, it's more that don't just see AI as a magic button. Like yeah, it will get funny. I'm just checking. I'm pretty sure it's just this that's gonna be interesting to me. So for now, I keep over here. That's maxed out. I'll have to pick that. Oh wait, no, I should not have bothered with that. Oh well. So what should I bother with? There. I think this, because that doesn't care what kind of thing I have. Still 1 point. I don't know. Yeah, sure. Put it here. Come on. There we go. Right, back here. What do I want? Nope. This actually could be pretty cool, but let me just... What have I got here? Okay, I don't really need that. No, actually... Yeah, we'll leave that there, because the attack speed is still going to be nice. I'm just... yeah, I shouldn't need that. Maybe if I had some pets, summon pets, those kinds of summons, not just these devices, it would be more interesting.
Come, speak with me.
But not on this character.
Good evening. Of course you. But it happens to be. I thought it's at the end. But listen, surely you have enough delight.
But actually, yeah, just put that down, because that one got a fair number of shots off. Just trying to think if there's anything else I want to mention. I guess one quick question. Not that I expect any answers to anything, but I think it is just something worth thinking about, especially for somebody who is concerned about AI taking things over, or just the bubble not bursting soon, or thinking it's not a bubble, this is all real. The pressure it's applying is that real. What do you think are the common uses for AI? Because personally, I think the common uses for most people will be image-based stuff, especially image generation. Also some upscaling. Maybe some of the manipulation stuff, but that I'm not so concerned with. I'll explain that. When I say manipulation, I mean the, like, and they haven't even advertised the capability for so long. But things like, hey, this is a good picture, except, good family group picture, except that the kid was, this one kid was, his eyes were closed. So fix that, especially if there's a picture where, it was open and it's just, the AI does the editing together.
That's the
Which I remember Samsung having ads for that capability on their phones, and that was years ago. So it's like, that reached the point that they don't even advertise that in. Well, at least I don't recall being advertised. Maybe it was Google Pixel, but it's still, that's been achieved. But I think that just some, basic image generation and upscaling. I don't think much text work. Maybe some summation stuff, but it would be like that. It wouldn't necessarily be, Okay, so it would be that first one. It's not bad. I want to hang on to it, but it's not all that impressive either. Yeah, maybe some summation stuff, which would be, well, depending, it would be built in something like a Thunderbird, so it's a local email client. Or, it would just be built into Gmail, in which case that's not running locally, that's running on a remote server, on a data center, at a data center. Although I guess maybe a Proton, you could potentially try to have that run locally. I need to pick that up. And it could be done, so that it keeps stuff secure.
good shot. The one who attempted the trick. But you don't have to. Quite right. And my reward.
Thing's a jerk. I'm just trying to. Yeah, let's actually do. Let's actually get filled. Then I'll pop back to sell stuff.
I said not to touch any treasure.
Yeah, but this is the only way to reach the engineer.
Why did you go back and touch the treasure? I told you it was still cursed. Mortals never fail to surprise me. I'm sorry to say that you probably won't survive the prison of punishment. But you passed the trial at least.
In theory, there is the code generation capability, but I got a couple thoughts on that. One being, a lot of times that code is not that good. I'm sorry, just in my job, some people are using that, and I'm doing QA. It's not making my life easier. It's making it worse. Because it's also, I'm the one who also builds like tables of records and, well, not exactly records, but things we need to make sure are included. Things like that. And it's like, oh yeah, I can tell this is AI generated code because it's making reference to stuff that we don't need. I have no idea where this comes from. It's just like, it's there now. And it's like, yeah, now I'm gonna have to write up tickets on a, yeah, this should be removed. It should never have been put there in the first place. I'm sorry, but AI code generation, it's not that helpful. At least not if you don't have it paired with somebody who will go through and be like, yes, this is wrong, 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 this just needs to change, this is wrong. So it's... I don't see it being all that useful. Now, it is still... You do have some people, though, who are sufficiently skilled technologists that they can get it working so that you don't need to. They don't have that concern. Let's see how effective that's. Not too bad.
Not yet.
Oh, geez, how long is that cooldown? 7 seconds. Okay, I did not realize that. But still, it's like there are some that are able to get it tuned in, so it's not wasting people's times. But it still is. That's not everyone. And even then, well, no. For a business, they would want that all running locally, but in theory, that also means they built their own workstation-type server that would handle it, so it would fall under that category. It wouldn't be you're running it locally kind of thing on your own machine. Or at least, in theory, it could be, but you wouldn't... You could, but you wouldn't have to. But still, is that something I can see just a normal NPU kind of thing doing? The super search engine aspect of AI, which I fully acknowledge I use, I will take advantage of that one, because sometimes it's helpful to just write in a natural language question and answer then trying to look up something specific. I can in fact give an example. Recently, when working with a 4K Blu-ray, because I need to do tone mapping to take the HDR aspect of it out. Because I only have SDR, and I don't need the HDR for a lot of this stuff anyway.
Hey, another living person. Oh, thank the gods.
The thing is, the tone mapping process that's in FMPEG that I'm using, though it preserves color and detail best, it will darken the image a little bit. My eyes are good enough that it's not that big a deal for me. But it still is. It does happen. So trying to look up how can I correct that, that's a little easier, I think, to go to an AI, because it's going to be able to search through and find other people talking about it and then summarize an answer. Because I don't necessarily trust that that's something, if I look it up, would be able to find, because I think a lot of people today aren't bothering with tone mapping necessarily, or they can just do a little bit and they're fine. Also, there's an element of this is part of the reason why I don't care about HDR in a lot of movies. It's made up. It's fake. Okay, it's not.
You fell for that. This old
Yeah,
ruined
why?
prison. Excellent.
It's not
To release me.
as though it's not as though they're just scanning the film and it's like, oh yeah, we can now show more colors, we can show more levels of luminance that are already encoded in the film. No, that's not how it is. I mean, technically the colors it can be, but a lot of the focus is not on the color
Years his
palette.
dusty old bones were holding onto that key for.
Here. Oh, thank you.
It's on the brightness. It's on the luminance stuff.
Better not have left us behind.
We can warp out anytime we want. Seriously, dude. Calm down. Anyway.
Hey! This way! Let's move!
But yeah, so I mean, it's basically all HDR is fake.
When I was young, I was always mystified by tales.
They go in there and just artificially decide, oh yeah, this should be super, super bright.
I wish that damn just never opened its big mouth.
And that isn't necessarily how it was originally in the film. I mean, I guess a way to put it is, if you were to measure it in decibels,
Getting worse.
which I think in some cases they do,
I was in a shipwreck. Then
the
stuck in that tortoise's damn.
standard, like for SDR, it would go up to 0 dB, okay? Which is that's the normal thing. Like for audio, it goes up to 0 dB for how it is stored in the file, right? Some of the HDR luminance nonsense, they're basically going to positive, which in like audio, that's clipping, right? You don't, nothing gets recorded above 0 dB. It's all negatives going up to 0. Okay. But with HDR, it's like, yeah, we're just gonna, it's artificial. They will decide to juice things up, so now it's actually positive there. So it's exceedingly bright, and it's like, it doesn't really serve much purpose. Because that also means it's not what the original image is anymore. It's the artistic view, which granted, I mean, for some like modern stuff, it's like, okay, maybe you have the director in there who is tuning that in to make sure that it is artistically. I'm trying to say with an R, not with the U. Sorry. But that is like direct, almost exactly where my speech impediment typically is. So anyway, so yeah, you can say that, oh, well, you know, with this, you make sure that the artistic integrity is correct. But then you got older films where it's like, nah, it's just somebody doing that. Who may still be trying to do it with great respect. Don't get me wrong there. But it still is that's not necessarily, it's still fake. But still trying to look it up, and unfortunately, I wasn't seeing anything like, oh yeah, just, you know, add an FMPEG filter that, you know, adjusts the brightness this way or adjusts the gamma that way. Nope. It also doesn't help that because of it being artificial, like I was describing, perhaps poorly, but still trying to describe, it has the, oh, that was actually kind of poor. The stomp was not that impressive. My brain just turned off. Oh, come on. You know what? Fine. We'll just... You know what? To be extra certain, here. Because there's clearly nothing in the way there. Alright. Damn it. I completely lost what the thought was.
Need me to look after it?
It was something, it was touching on the whole, you know, it's all fake aspect. I just can't quite remember what it was specifically. It's damage.
Beaches are filled.
Speed. Here we go. Activations.
Ruins are taught
I think everything else I can sell. I don't. No. What have I got now? 24? Yeah, 24. So that would be a step back. No, I like the health regen. Well, actually, I should say I love my health regen, but yeah. Anyhow,
It's good to hear people's voices.
that's right. Because it's all fake and it's being set by a person, that also means they're varying it from scene to scene. That's right. So even then, you know, the whole I can't actually do proper color correction. Where it's like, oh yeah, it's really dark. You know, it's darker here than it should be, because it's already gonna vary from one scene to the next. Now, true, the tone mapping, the darkening from that will be, in theory, that would be consistent. Maybe it wouldn't be, actually. I'm not sure how the tone mapping works, so maybe it wouldn't be. But yeah, it makes it very much
That giant monstrosity
you
sending people here to die.
for me, when I have to decide between the Blu-ray and the 4K, assuming I have both, it comes down to, for me, just how well they're going to encode. Because the strongest example I have would be the movie Harvey, which is a very good movie, by the way. Very, very easy to recommend that movie. Just truly classic Jimmy Stewart. The regular Blu-ray. So I bought the 4K that also comes with it on regular Blu-ray. They were different masters though. Well, different remasters, I should say. But the regular 4K looks. The regular Blu-ray looks horrible. I mean, well, no, it looks good, but the film grain in there is so large. I could not encode that efficiently. It just isn't possible. At least not, well, no. For my goals, not efficiently. But the 4K was a new remaster that had a much smoother, finer grain profile, which is perfect. That I can that's easy to work with. Like, plenty of encoders are happy working with that. So it's like, for that, I have to make a decision there. But it's working off the 4K stuff, nah, it doesn't necessarily mean much if I'm working off 4K versus 1080. And I just then need to hope that the colors aren't going to be too far off. Or the brightness. But speaking of film grain, I did think of this earlier. It's like, yes, I'm already talking about some of this stuff, so it kind of all connects together. I did see something for the SVT AV1 HDR fork of that encoder that it hasn't been okay. So the guy or guys who maintain that specific AV1 encoder, they haven't.
Oh,
They don't produce any EXE that you can then run locally. Okay, they don't do that. But there is somebody who does, and there's like, it's just set up on GitHub that Mac does this every night. Unfortunately, that repository hasn't pulled over these changes yet. But somebody made some commits that I'm exceedingly interested in. So something that got recently, and is in the builds, that the auto builds that you can find. They added photon noise, which is basically so film grain synthesis originally, like what's in there for the most, what has been in there for a long time, and honestly, I'll say it still works very well. I'm still continuing to use it. It's supposed to scan the image before and after AV1 encodes to try to then figure out, okay, this is what, this is where and how intense the film grain should be. Okay. Photon noise is different. That's more of just saying, hey, the grain profile is this everywhere. In theory, that makes it faster. It might make it more consistent, but it's not necessarily as good looking. Honestly, it's hard to tell the difference in some cases, but still. There's a waypoint nearby. I don't remember if it's up here, back here. Oh, no, it is right here. Okay. Now we can keep going. Well, what they added, somebody added, and it probably won't, but it would be awesome if this could be applied to the regular film grain synthesis. But what a complaint I've had about film grain synthesis stuff from the beginning is film grain changes in size. Even within the same film, it will change in size. Because that's the nature of film grain itself. Larger grains absorb more light, so they're better in dark scenes. Finer grains, yes, will produce a more detailed, consistent image, but they need more light because there's more single things to absorb it. It's if you think about the grains like solar cells, a larger solar cell will absorb more light, more photons on it, so that I'm just trying to think. Would would it be better to describe it as voltage or current? I guess it would be voltage is what it would actually work out as. Where would that be right? Yeah, I think so. Where a single very large solar cell could produce very high voltage, but a number of smaller cells would produce a higher current. And the reason I'm thinking that would be it is because each cell, if we assume it only produces one electron with light falling on it, then many solar cells produces a very high current because there's many electrons then. Whereas one single very large cell would have to be still that one electron, but there's so much more energy that was absorbed, so it would have to be a very high energy, which is high voltage. And sometimes when you're making a movie or television show, you want the higher voltage. Other times you want the higher current. And film grain synthesis had no spec for that. Well, that is now an option in SVT AB1, no, HDR. Hang on. SVT AB1 HDR, yes. Okay. Okay, yeah, we can do that. To actually control grain size, at least for photon noise. If it were also for film grain synthesis, I would be so... For the analysis-based one, oh, I'd be so happy. I'd be so happy. Now, one problem there, however, is it's still... This is something that should be varying from scene to scene. But it still is... I'm so glad to this much. Because I can absolutely believe that there would be instances where I would prefer to have an overall just grain everywhere, but I wanted it at this size compared to it being more dynamic, but it being not able to respect the different grain sizes. Yeah. Yes. No, I did say that correct. Okay. Definitely nearing where I want to be stopping. For length of time, anyway. But yeah, so hopefully we'll see that. I mean, yeah. We shall see. But it is like... Film grain synthesis, it is such an interesting concept. I really, really like the idea of. But it is just... It definitely has felt to me from the beginning like it was a tool that people understood the need for it, but didn't understand why it was needed. Like, they get the whole... Yeah, film grain is difficult to encode, so... And it might get lost, especially without AB1 encodes. So if we have something that will put it back, but in a more efficient manner, it's like, okay, yeah, you understand that problem, but you don't understand the characteristics of film grain. So it's not as helpful. Because like this feels like, hey, they're trying to do that. At least for this one fork, but this fork and the psychovisual fork that it came before it have both seen a lot of their stuff integrated into the mainline SVT AV1 encoder that is from Intel. All the SVT encoders are Intel scalable video technology. So yeah, it's. And even, I'll just point this out. Even with so much stuff being pulled back into the mainline encoder, it is still worth potentially using a fork like HDR or the psychovisual one, because they will not, in the mainline encoder, they will not, like start changing defaults based on some of these new features, because they can't. It might be too new, something like that. So you may see, or will see, with the forks, better defaults for preserving, in this case, preserving detail, because they know the people looking for it, the people using the fork. That's specifically why they're using it. So they'll just set that so that those who are not like me and go in, because I go in and I tune the hell out of it. And plenty of people also do that. It's just, I definitely do that. I love it. I find that enjoyable. I got no idea. I could probably stomp and get it, but brain just turned off a little bit. But it's still, helpful for them, for the people that don't want to go in and tune it in, to have the better default save. That's not something that the mainline would do. Well, not often. In theory, they could do it whenever they do like a major shift, and they actually did one not too long ago. I wonder if they did. They did start doing that. Going like from a 3 to 4, major version 3 to 4. In theory, you could do it then. But I don't think any. I'm just not aware of if they have. Okay, I'm gonna clear right here. Then I'm gonna go back and get that crab shell. I'm pretty sure it's not the last. Yeah, come on. There we go. Perfect. And deckhand. Maybe it is gonna be last. Deckhand. Oh no, there's the last one. Okay.
Carrying too much.
I don't think there's anything worth dropping because it's only yellow. No, yeah, let's... Let's just walk back. Well, no. We don't need to walk back. Let's just get out of here. There.
There are pirates and monsters everywhere.
Need me to look after anything?
So it is this. Okay, you have another one of these. Just now set it. Well, doesn't really matter. It's not as good as what I currently have. This should go here. Perfect. Okay. Now I can just sell so much stuff.
Blades.
I don't think that... Yeah, no. I like that bonus damage. Because that 23% bonus damage is not small.
A word before you pass. You found him!
It was a daring, but you...
You...
Really?
All I asked...
I'll get us home. I can work with that.
There? Ah.
It won't be much more than driftwood.
I'm sorry, that's close enough now. Let's keep going for a little bit so I can, yeah. So that hopefully I can hit the next level. That's too damn close. I have to keep going. And I do have the time, it's just I don't necessarily want to spend it this way. I got plenty of other things I want to do. But no, I'm gonna go up here. I think there is a waypoint up there as well. So, or at least not far from there. So finding that waypoint would probably be the best place to then stop. Since it's like, I'm so close, I gotta keep going. Yeah. Yeah. It was right here. I thought it might have been a little bit further. Okay, okay, no, I'll keep going this way. It looks like just the mobs are getting enough experience. I'm nearly there. But there is a side mission that does end here. You can reach into the lion's mouth and get some goodies. It'll take a little bit before I can do that. Boom. Right. There. So that's not really worth pushing up. This is actually really nice. There. Oh, should I? Nah, this would. Okay, so why do I do that? Because it will now, they will do 60% more damage when they're inside of it. So, what I can do. Not that matters there. Well, here. No, yeah, we'll do that one. We'll do that one. Okay, that's a little odd that it's red there. But yeah, I'll just show you what I can do now. I don't know why that's red. Maybe just it'll spawn in at a higher level than me. Okay, I think it spawns in around here. So here's what I can do now. Pop that down. And I do this when I'm farming bosses. And it's awesome. So now everything in there has plus 60% damage. I'm just gonna come over here. Activate. Yes. Oh, I was off a little bit. But still, if he just comes forward even a little bit. Yeah, he's now getting hit by the blade trap, by one of the blade traps. He's dead already. So if I legitimately wanted to farm him, I would just spawn this over here and set things up right there, because that's where he spawns in. And it can shred them like you wouldn't believe. It's awesome. That is tempting. But I like the 6% etch impact hit. Oh, that actually doesn't. Okay. Then... Let's actually do that then. Okay. Yeah, the bonus activations there might actually be worth it. They might be. I don't know. We'll find out. Find out.
I've got some mackerel on the fire. It'll be ready
Need me
soon.
to look after anything for you while you're out there?
Come on. There you go. This will go here. I don't think anything else is interesting, though. Do have this. Okay.
I owe you a great... You're welcome. Oh, the great...
So that'll be it. Sorry. Yeah, so that'll be it for this week. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else to mention. Nothing really coming to mind, though. Well, of course, Happy Easter for everyone. Yeah. I'm sorry, it's one of those things that even though I have a job now, I still got that whole thing from being chronically unemployed where it's like you forget what, I mean, you know what time of the day, you know approximately the season of the year, but the day of the week you might not realize anymore. It's like, and certainly what month you're in, it's like things like that, yeah, and what holidays are around, yeah, it's, that's not here. Ah, well, it is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah, so happy Easter to everyone. Yeah, I'll be back next week. It'll be interesting if we do get the when we get the new update. Anyway, to quickly explain that, last week I think was they teased a lot of stuff coming in they said sooner rather than later patch. That's it might not add the summoner, the new summoner mastery, but there was still a lot of stuff they were changing, a lot of gear related stuff and such. So it's like that could be good. That could be very good. But yeah, just see you next time.